friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be hauling and unhauling some books. So not too long ago now, I posted a video called my last haul for a while, and that was partially true. I don't have 15 plus books to haul for you right now. I think I have 2, 4, 6, 8, I have 9 books, so it's way more reasonable, and these are all of the books that I have acquired in 2021. So the fact that it's mid-March and I've only acquired 9 books is great. Some of these I paid for, and those would have been book of the month, and some of them were gifts. So it's not horrible. So I haven't totally broken my book buying ban. I have yet to buy a book that wasn't book of the month, and anything that isn't book of the month I was given. So I'm pretty happy with that, but I don't want to just acquire books endlessly, and I decided to kind of pair this up with another unhaul. I've been unhauling books like crazy lately, so I have 5 more books to unhaul for you today. So let's start off. Maybe I'll go back and forth. Maybe I won't. I don't know. First up, we have 2 new children classics. I am obsessed with the children classics. I think they're so pretty and just like the best editions I've ever seen. So I have Emma by Jane Austen and Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I got these for Valentine's Day from my mom because she's the sweetest. And yes, I have read Jane Eyre before and I absolutely loved it. So I did want a very pretty edition of it. I unhauled my anthology of Jane Austen books a few months ago now, so I'm trying to recollect those stories in beautiful editions. So now I have Emma. So I'm very excited about these 2. And that ushers in my first unhaul very well because I'm getting rid of my old copy of Jane Eyre. This is the copy I read in college for my literature degree, and this is the original copy that I fell in love with. I remember reading this on the treadmill in the gym at school, just hoping to finish it quickly. And I did really like this. If you didn't know, it's about a woman named Jane Eyre. We follow her as she becomes a governess, a nanny for this man, and then some freaky shit starts to happen and some crazy twists start occurring. I really liked it. It took a lot of turns that I wasn't expecting in a classic, so I'm very excited that I now have a beautiful edition of this book because I hate this edition, like, a lot. Next up, we have The Prophets by Robert Jones Jr. This is obviously a book of the month. This I got because I accidentally forgot to cancel one of my additional book of the month accounts, because that's the kind of thing I would do last year. But this, I believe, is about 2 slaves. Yes, 2 slaves who are in love, Isaiah and Samuel, and their story. The reviews on this are absolutely stunning, so I am looking forward to reading this. I have a feeling it's going to be heartbreaking though, so I don't think I'm going to read it until I'm in a much better mental space. Then we have Girl A by Abigail Dean, another book of the month. This was my book of the month for February, I believe. And I believe it's a horror or a thriller having to do with a little girl. So it's been a little bit since I read the summary on this, but I believe it's a thriller about a young girl whose parents were super abusive. She doesn't want to think about growing up in her parents' house of horrors. Okay. You can flee your parents, you can bury your secrets, but you'll never leave behind what your siblings know what you all shared. I'm intrigued by this. I remember reading the synopsis on the Book of the Month website and was like, that sounds up my alley. Hopefully I'll get to this soon, but I suck at remembering to read my book of the months. A book I'm unhauling is The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. I did really like this. I actually bought this after reading it because I read a library copy and then decided to order this. Actually, no, I think I got this off of a secondhand Facebook group. Yes, I bought it off Facebook. I'm not gonna read it again. I like Ruth Ware, my favorite being The Turn of the Screw. Is that what it's called? No. The Turn of the Key. It's called The Turn of the Key. My favorite being The Turn of the Key, and I liked One by One a lot, actually, and those are the only 2 Ruth Wares that I still own. Am I lying? No. Those are the only 2 Ruth Wares that I still own. This was a favorite for me, but looking back, I'm not gonna reread this. This is one of those books that the twists were insane, but they were also super memorable to the point that I remember every single plot point of the, well, not every single plot point, but I remember the gist of this novel enough that I don't want to reread it. Things like The Turn of the Key I really liked and would like to read again. Even One by One I'd be interested in reading again. This, I've just kind of come to terms with the fact that I'm not going to reread this, so it can go. Taking a break from the book of the months, we have House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. I haven't started this. This is what I'm supposed to read in March, and I'm honestly terrified. I'm so intimidated by this. I didn't think I was going to be when I ordered this. I ordered this because it is the Literally Dead book club pick for March. And I didn't understand what people meant when they said it was super intimidating until I received it in the mail. My mom, yet again, gifted this to me. She's a saint. Because I was talking about how I didn't know how I was going to get my hands on this for March. And she very graciously ordered it for me. But now I'm terrified of it. I need to just start it and see what happens. But this looks ridiculous. It looks horribly complicated. I have no idea what it's about. I'm kind of happy about that because I feel like if I learned more, I would be more intimidated. So we're gonna find out. The other non-book of the month book that I've left is The Other Misses by Mary Kapika. I got this at Target. I think this is yet another book that my mother very nicely bought for me. And I actually don't remember what this is about at all. We were at Target and we both decided that it looked really interesting. So she picked it up for me. She's lovely. And they moved from Chicago to small town Maine. A woman is found dead in her home. All eyes of suspicion turn toward the new family. Okay, I'm interested. I think I remember Books and Lala, Kayla from Books and Lala, reading this and saying it was okay. We'll see what I think about it, but we'll find out. Next up, we are getting rid of these two books that I read last month. He's Just Not That Into You, and it's called The Breakup Because It's Broken. They are pretty much the same book, but this is for dating and this is for breaking up. And both of them were published in the early to mid 2000s, making them entirely too outdated to be helpful. So I don't need to keep these. I didn't even actually read the physical copies of these. I listened to the audiobook on both, and they can go. I actually don't know why I decided I needed this one, because I didn't buy it all that long ago. Last up, we have my March Book of the Month picks. First up, we have Too Good to Be True by Carola Lovering. And I know this has to do with a woman who gets engaged and then some things start to happen. I believe it's a domestic thriller. I really like that kind of shit, so I'm excited to see what this is about. And yeah, it kind of, to me, looks like one of your like basic domestic thrillers, so we'll see how I feel about it after I read it, whenever that may be. Then we have the final revival of Opal and Neve by Donnie Walton. I got this because it was compared to Daisy Jones and the Six. I will literally buy any book that gets compared to Daisy Jones because I loved Daisy Jones. I believe it's about musicians. She's a black punk artist before her time, coming of age in Detroit. Early 70s New York City. This sounds really interesting to me. I'm very excited. I like fiction that reads like nonfiction, and I'm really hoping that that's what this is. And then my add-on for the month, this is The Office of Historical Corrections, a novella and stories by Danielle Evans. I wasn't super interested in this. Like, I had been drawn to it, but then when I read it, when I saw that it was a bunch of short stories, I was kind of like, that's not my thing. But then Emma from Drinking by My Shelf said she absolutely loved this and it was one of her favorite books of the year so far. And it just kind of cemented that this needed to be an add-on for me. I have no idea what it's about and I'm kind of really excited about that. I remember her talking about it and I remember being like, that kind of does sound like it's up my alley. So we'll find out. Maybe this will be a book of the month I will read because it's short stories and not like a full-on novel. The book of the month I'm trying to read right now is This Time Next Year. I started it the very first of the month, kind of got into a super bad reading slump, and I've barely read any of it. It doesn't help that it's a romance, and they're just not my thing, and I'm kind of quickly realizing romance is not my thing. And finally, the last book I will be unhauling is When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole. I absolutely loved this. I gave it a 4-star, really enjoyed it, scared the shit out of me, and I just am not going to reread it. I think I got everything it's going to give me, and I think a reread isn't going to like improve it at all because I know what's going on from the beginning. So I don't see myself rereading this, and I will pass it on to someone who will also hopefully really enjoy it like I did. So we hauled 9 books and got rid of 5 books. That's not horrible in my opinion. I'm hoping that I will be doing more of these types of videos in the future where every time I bring books into my collection, I am also bringing books out of my collection. And I think that's a good way to keep it balanced, because while I am not buying excessive amounts of books, I am still, you know, a Book of the Month member. Obviously, I'm still getting gifts of that are books. I don't want to make a haul that's like 4 books, and I have also lowered the amount of books that I can unhaul because everything I own right now I pretty much want to read. So it works for me to combine these so I don't have like one really short haul and one really short unhaul. It's just like a nice little balanced video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Comment down below a book you recently bought. I would love to know. But yes, comment, like, subscribe, all the normal stuff, and I'll see you guys again super soon. Bye.